Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far with Los Angeles Thieves making a major rule change just a few days ago. Has it worked out for them behind the scenes in scrims? Octane seems to believe it's certainly a step in the right direction, but they're still getting bodied by FaZe and OpTic whenever they play them. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you're new as always. I would greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that one. This one, I don't know if you guys have heard this story yet from Octane after the major, but yeah, pretty remarkable stuff. Effectively what was going on here is that, well, the guys were having a pretty good time or bad time depending on the player in the casino, where of course that was going on alongside the major, right? The major effectively was in this kind of, well, complex where there were casino on one floor, there was at the venue on the other floor, and the players were going back and forth, right? And some were losing money, some were making money, and Drazah was going absolutely rogue. So I believe when they went out of the tournament on the, whatever it was, the Friday, Saturday, when Los Angeles Thieves got knocked out, Octane and the rest of the guys flew home, right? They just wanted to get out of there, whereas Drazah was staying in the venue. At this point, I believe Drazah was already down about 10k on, where he started the weekend at the casino, which is pretty, honestly, like, I mean, to be fair, he spent like 16k on an NFT a couple of days ago, so I guess this guy's just got money to burn. But he was like 10k down, and then Octane's gone home or whatever, and Drazah's still at the casino, like, he drops the effort then, I suppose. He's like, okay, down 10k, what am I going to do next? Just go absolutely rogue. And then he sends Octane and the rest of the guys an image of him just with these, like, $100 bills sprawled out across his bed. So somehow he's gone down 10k, he's gone absolutely mega, and he's made it all back and a load more. So some of these copros never cease to amaze, to be honest, but I guess credit where it's due, managing to get back into the green. We've got to talk about the Volk first of all before we discuss Los Angeles Thieves, because on the other side of LA, when Spart introduced it with Los Angeles Guerrillas for Major 2, definitely revitalized, changed the meta an awful lot, and well, has been considered the last week or so probably to be rather too strong. There's been obviously plenty of talk about it. The problem is really that the way the gentleman's agreement system type of thing works, effectively the teams have a great incentive to GA it, right? Because they look at LA Guerrillas, they won this event, Spart was using the Volk, he was best prepared for it than all the other teams. Even if it's not overpowered, you can argue that it is, looking at the stats, the headshot multiplier, the strafe, these type of things. Even if it's not overpowered though, like the teams have a direct incentive to get rid of it, to take it back to the status quo they were at before. So seems like the Volk now has officially gone. The European challengers got rid of it a few days ago, and well, obviously when that happens, generally the pros will follow suit sooner rather than later. So there has been a few clips coming out the last couple of days that have basically said yes, the Volk is now officially gone, so back to the 2-weapon meta effectively, unless you consider the Rat to be kind of the third weapon or the sniper rifle itself. But yeah, seems like MP40 auto back on the menu. Unfortunately, yeah, classic case really in Call of Duty, where the MP40, well, and the auto are the two weapons the pros particularly like. The Volk comes into the meta, and then before long it's completely out of there, right? Los Angeles Guerrillas not all that happy with it, to be honest, and who can blame them? But Los Angeles Thieves and the rest of the guys seem to be on board with getting rid of the Volk. I know that well, Octane was calling it rather unethical, the straight speed of this weapon just a couple of days ago. But my personal perspective was that it wasn't going to replace either the MP40 or the auto, right? We were still going to see other weapons, we were going to still see those guns on the map. Like if the Volk had stayed, it would still be a 3-weapon meta, even if the Volk and the player who was allowed to use the Volk was maybe the most dominant force on the map. But seemingly it is now officially gone.
That's sometimes.
I'm picking up mid,
Dude, I'm gonna insane how close they spawn. It's insane.
Mid.
Wait, tell me you got a Volk. Oh, how days.
What? Is it not loud, bro?
Platform.
It's just red,
In the back.
Yo! Okay.
Mid dead.
Is this GA?
Yeah.
Oh, that makes sense. I just used to see why GA, honestly.
Oh yeah.
To this side.
Oh yeah.
Weak
I
in
see
this
why.
side too. Weak this side.
Trust me, I know why. I see why too.
Now, Los Angeles Thieves as a team so far this year have certainly been falling short of their expectations. They had a decent result of the Kickoff Classic. Since then, top 6, top 8 at the first 2 events of the season. I'm pretty sure last night, 100 Thieves, their League of Legends team did a crazy reverse sweep against Liquid or something. And then, well, as Octane says, LAT gets reverse swept, 100 Thieves reverse sweep. So maybe back in the good old days when they were 100 Thieves, not Los Angeles Thieves, it was doing okay. And, jokes make the pain go away. So tough season, no doubt, for Octane so far. But a few days ago, we saw that Kenny confirmed, the team confirmed, the role swap is going to come through. Kenny to the full-time main SMG, alongside Envoy, Drazah to the flex, and then Octane, of course, still being the main assault rifle for the team. We did wonder, could this team work? Like, I think a lot of people suggested Kenny and Octane as the kind of AR duo. That's not going to work as a duo. So, like, something's got to give there. Whether it's Octane goes, Kenny becomes the main, or, in this case, Kenny goes to an SMG, and Octane stays. Which, seemingly, I think on paper, makes plenty of sense. Kenny back in the day was very impactful. I think you can be more impactful on the SMG than you can be on the AR. Probably about time they give this a go. though, given what Kenny was doing on the MP40 or the PBSH as it was back in World War II, but of course, relatively similar weapons actually, looking at the way they operate. So, well, as Kenny says, not an instant fix of issues, hoping it pans out the way we envisioned it. Now, Octane was talking about this on stream last night, how it's been working out for them behind the scenes, saying that it's been an awful lot better in many different regards. They've certainly looked better, they were getting bodied seemingly before Major 2, they of course came top 8 there, they managed to reverse sweep New York before getting reverse swept by OpTic to go out of the tournament, but apparently in the lead up they were getting completely destroyed, and now with this new change, they're beating the teams that they should theoretically beat, some of the guys below them as Octane describes, but still getting completely destroyed by OpTic and FaZe whenever they play them, also mentioning the communication difficulties that Envoy and Drazah had on the SMG.
Making progress on scrims, yeah, I felt pretty good lately. We were getting body slammed for a while before the major. We were losing everybody, but over the last couple of days, I think we beat the teams that we were supposed to beat. The teams that are obviously better than us, being FaZe and I don't think have fit on us, but I think all the other teams, New York, Seattle, Minnesota, Paris, we beat. So, I mean, that's improvement. I'll take it. We used to lose to them.
How's the role change? Good, bad?
Feels better. I mean, the scrim results have been better, which, grain of salt, but feels better.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it feels better, I feel like that's a good sign.
Yeah. Definitely helped the pacing out a lot. I feel like before we would not move at all with kills, which sucked ass, but, Ken's going at all times. So.
Well, yeah, if he's playing like he did in World War II, Kenny just ran at you. So,
that's what we need.
That's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good thing. That's definitely a good thing.
It helps our comms a bunch too. Our comms were our comms were not good because Ken and I are a lot more vocal than Dylan and Zach are. So when both of our ARs are super vocal, but our subs really aren't, it threw off a lot.
Yeah.
So, of course, the two teams separating themselves from the rest of the pack right now, no doubt, are Atlanta FaZe and the OpTic Texas, of course. At number 1, number 2, there's no doubt, especially in scrims. FaZe, of course, FaZe are very good at the events as well. They always make the grand finals. Certainly, there's been plenty of talk about the fact that they're falling short in grand finals, though, as of late. But also the fact that, OpTic are there and thereabouts. But FaZe in scrims also been very good as well, and OpTic generally in a similar boat. So it makes sense the Los Angeles Thieves are struggling against them. But, of course, look, if you are LA Thieves as an organization and as a roster, your expectation is to be in that top 3, right? That was going into the season. I'm sure Natron is looking at OpTic and FaZe, two massive brands in Call of Duty. He's thinking also of 100 Thieves, or Los Angeles Thieves as they are, thinking surely that should be the number 3 team, especially with New York and Toronto also falling off the pace, London being the top 3 team, Boston being number 4, Los Angeles Guerrillas winning an event, surely LA Thieves should be up there. So to me, it was something of a surprise they didn't make an actual roster change, just because maybe there weren't the SMG options really out there on the market to make it happen, so this is what they've decided to do instead. They believe it's taking them in the right direction. Is it going to be good enough though? Because yes, they might be beating the teams around them, being a somewhat solid squad, but if they're still getting bodied by FaZe and OpTic, it's not a great sign that this team still has what it takes to be the best team in the game, because you want to win events. Of course, the key thing is to see what actually happens when you get to a, proper qualification environment, right? You're not going to take all your information from scrims, but, quite interesting that he reckons that, yes, they're a lot better than they were before, at least improving, but still against the top dogs, they don't quite have what it takes, but look, if they can even get to a championship Sunday at Major 3, that will be a massive stepping stone in the right direction for them. But the communication stuff to me was very interesting, because talking about the fact that Envoy and Drazah, despite at the start of the year, lots of people said that the team comms on Los Angeles Thieves were very good. The problem was for them, it seems, as Kenny said a couple of days ago, and Octane kind of echoed here, that Octane and Kenny are the two most vocal players on the team. Those aren't the guys that do the heavy lifting in the comms. The problem is when your SMG players aren't particularly vocal, you don't really get that information, right? You don't do anything, nothing actually happens on the map, because none of those guys are leading the way. No one, one of those guys isn't going to make a call and say, okay, let's do this and follow the lead effectively. That Shotzzy is well known for doing on the OpTic side, but Los Angeles Thieves don't really have that. So actually Kenny to an SMG, if anything, is a change in their comms. And it does make you wonder really last year with the OpTic team, right, that kind of out of game, after the game had finished, I think Envoy did a great job as being kind of an out of game leader, but in game, Formal I think probably did most of the work. And some people have been suggesting that Envoy's kind of in game leadership abilities are somewhat being overgassed as a result of something like this. So quite interesting stuff, to be honest. We saw this from Kenny back in February, actually got to praise Sam, that being Octane's of course, his comms as well. Great communication, right? But yeah, now Kenny on an SMG, that might make more sense there. But yeah, still a bit of a concern, right, if the fact that Envoy and Drazah, basically both of the guys, Octane and Kenny, have both said their comms weren't great at all on the SMG. They're not necessarily going to improve drastically. Maybe Kenny can make up for that, right, by being the absolute do-it-all main SMG player. But you have to think that in an ideal world, all the players' communications are great, right? You're probably not going to win events consistently if the communication from some of your players isn't particularly good. So very interesting stuff. Intrigued to your perspective on this one in the comment section below. Of course, speaking of SMG players, wanted to mention this, not the worst screenshot of Enable this time around. There's been a few bits of, well, discussion around SMGs, the tier list in the game right now. To me, I think the way I would do this is probably have Shotzzy in the tier of his own. I think Simp has been great the last few weeks. He's made some great progress. His Search and Destroy has been phenomenal. But, you know, Shotzzy's been ridiculous all across the board and just so impactful. To me, Shotzzy's in a tier of his own in the S. Then after that, I think, honestly, it's not too bad. I think at first sight, it looks kind of questionable. On the whole, it's okay. I'm surprised Awakening is so high, to be honest. I guess technically he's an SMG in this game just because you've got Skies and Dave Paddy, but kind of strange to think about. Mac has been great. aBeZy all the way down here is kind of surprising in a way. Like, I think Scump is in a good spot as well. To me, Afro is probably still A tier. I think, like, the fact that Awakening's here and Afro's here is probably out of whack with just how good Afro has been so far this season. I think the B tier is generally okay, even though maybe Capsule is too far down in my opinion. Hydra also in the A tier is kind of interesting just because the team has had, like, no success at all, despite Hydra being very good. C tier is maybe okay, to be honest. CleanX surprisingly low, but I think it makes sense on his performances so far. And then the D tier to me, like, look, I think this is probably fair enough. You know, your Jimbo, your John, your Priestahh, Neptune as well, Drazah here also. LA Thieves, I'm sure, hoping he can move up the rankings. But, you know, to me, Vivid, I think, is getting somewhat harshly done by here as well in D. I think maybe, you know, C at the very minimum just for Vivid, because I think, like, he's been, well, just having Awakening here and Vivid here seems a bit strange to me, because, yes, maybe the stats tell a different story, but to me, Vivid's been a very impactful player on this team and actually does a lot for the squad. And if they didn't have him, they'd have, like, no pace at all. So I think he's very valuable to that team, to be honest. Those are just my takes on this SMG tier list. It's very difficult to do a good one, though. It's much easier to critique a tier list than it is to actually make your own one and make it decent. But, you know, that's just my perspective. Very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Wanted to finish out as well with some beautiful Lion Man cards, mid-season cards here for Dashy and some other players as well. This is the Dashy one, the full season so far. Control, he gets a purple, 93 overall. He gets +5 for being kind of a +5 record, as Lion Man describes. Team CDL standing effects overall, so -6 for 12th, +6 for first. OpTic being in second place, get a +5 overall to their ladder. Like, well, Cellium, he gets a +6. He's, of course, number 1 in the rankings. He's had some truly absurd stats so far this year. 1.3 in search, 1.27 in hardpoint, 1.12 in control. I know, well, we've got a couple of other ones to look at as well. This from Scump as well. His full year card so far. His Search and Destroy, surprisingly, has actually not been that good, but he's been great in the other modes. Last year, if anything, it was kind of the other way around, right, where Scump was really good in control or really good in Search and Destroy, sorry, but the other modes weren't so good. But, you know, this year, their Search and Destroy as a team has been pretty good as well. So Scump's definitely got some other players on his team helping him out in that game mode, it seems, so far this year. One of those, of course, being Shotzzy with a 1.2 in Search and Destroy. Like, all these green bars right at the top is just very impressive indeed. The hill time, he doesn't even need it. This guy's been absolutely fantastic. And just wanted to finish up with this as well from the COD League. Trying to see something. First location that comes to mind when you hear the call out Grandmas or Top Grandmas or something. Of course, look, they're kind of, well, biasing it a bit with putting Standoff in the background here with Top Grandmas building as it was back in the day. I think some people, like real OGs, would say maybe COD 4 overgrown. My actual first thoughts here, like just what first came to mind, is on Fringe, Black Ops 3, the Grandma's house building, which is opposite the barn. That was the first one that came to mind for me, but you know, still Standoff. There's some other maps as well that have buildings called Grandma's, but Fringe, Black Ops 3, the absolute money hill on that one. Just a beautiful time in Call of Duty. But very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hitting the like button tells your YouTube gods this is a good video. Others like you should see it as well. And I hope grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.